There are some songs that just hit us a bit more profoundly than others. Songs that do the job for us of saying something that we can't manage to say for whatever reason. Sometimes expressing the simplest things are difficult for us, and it's then that those emotional work songs become even more valuable. Saying thank you to someone shouldn't be hard. But really waxing poetic about what or who we're grateful for is not necessarily something that many of us are cut out to do. And so we have our best songwriters to thank for coming up with the words that we miss. And when it comes to expressing gratitude, there are a few songs that strike the same chord as Thank You by Led Zeppelin. Released on the band's second album, Led Zeppelin II, in 1969, it appears as track 4, the last song on side 1. And there, flowing seamlessly in between the grooves, right after the downright bawdy Lemon song on the album's lineup, is a song with lyrics written entirely by frontman Robert Plant. The first time he had ever written full lyrics for a song for the band, with the encouragement of Jimmy Page. In fact, after Plant wrote these very personal lyrics, Page realized that Plant was much more than just the golden god on stage, and Plant got more credit for writing the lyrics of the band's songs from their second album onward. And it is such an intimate song for Robert Plant. It was written for his wife at the time, Maureen Wilson, a woman to whom he did owe his own survival to at times, and who would go on to become the mother of 3 of his children. Born in Calcutta, India, in November of 1948, Wilson moved to Birmingham, England with her family shortly after she was born, where her father operated a steel factory. It was in around 1966 that she crossed paths with Plant at a jazz concert that had been canceled, and the two began seeing each other. Both 18 years old at the time, Plant had left school in his hometown of Worcestershire 2 years before, driven by a desire to be just like Elvis Presley. And when he met Wilson, he was trying his luck singing in different bands, but he was often broke. Wilson was working full-time as a nurse and often supported Plant as he tried to get his musical career going. He even worked for a short while in her father's steel factory, among doing other odd jobs. Plant first linked up with future Led Zeppelin drummer John Bonham when the two played together in Band of Joy. But their futures were made in 1968 when Jimmy Page saw Robert Plant sing at a show at a college in Birmingham. Page was starting a new band after the Yardbirds and couldn't believe that Plant wasn't already a huge name after seeing him perform. The two related on music and had similar ambitions, and it wasn't long after that, with the addition of John Paul Jones on bass, that Led Zeppelin was formed. The first time that the band played under the name of Led Zeppelin instead of the new Yardbirds in London was on November 9th of that year at a venue in the city called the Roundhouse. The date was also special for another reason. Plant married Maureen Wilson before that November 9th concert, and the newlyweds had their reception there immediately afterward. This was about 3 weeks after their first child, Plant's only daughter, Carmen Jane, was born. A few months later, in January of 1969, Led Zeppelin's self-titled debut album was released and went top 10 in several countries. And then, in October of 1969, it was followed by Led Zeppelin II. The band's second album went to number 1 in the UK and in the US. Led Zeppelin had exploded onto the musical landscape and into popular culture in a way that few others ever have, and in such a short time. Driven by the guiding hand of legendary manager Peter Grant, Led Zeppelin were to become one of the behemoths of rock, one of the most influential bands of all time. But Robert Plant hadn't forgotten the person who helped him before all this success came crashing in. And you can hear the intense emotion of the lyrics he wrote for his wife, Maureen, in every line of the song that he wrote to express it. Thank You begins with John Paul Jones playing a tinkling Hammond organ. Page playing an acoustic 12-string guitar, which was unusual for him, both joined by Bonham on drums. The music lifts until it reaches an apex and then breathes, and then Plant sings the lines. If the sun refused to shine, I would still be loving you. When the mountains crumble to the sea, there will still be you and me. Now, if these lines sound familiar, it's because they're from Jimi Hendrix's If 6 Was 9, which was released a few years before. A tip of the hat to Hendrix from Plant in his love song for his wife. And the song goes on. Kinda woman, I give you my all. Kinda woman, nothing more. Little drops of rain, whisper of the pain, tears of loves lost in the days gone by. My love is strong. With you there is no wrong. Together we shall go until we die. Inspiration's what you are to me. Inspiration. Look and see. And so today my world, it smiles. Your hand in mine, we walk the miles. Thanks to you, it will be done. For you to me are the only one. Happiness, no more sad. Happiness, I'm glad. And the lyrics return to the first verse, lines pledging that this love will never end. If the sun refused to shine, I would still be loving you. Mountains crumble to the sea. There will still be you and me. But the song isn't quite done yet. In a musical move that has tripped up many a DJ since this song was released in 1969, the song has one of the more famous false endings of all time, going quiet before roaring back up in the last 10 seconds to end side 1 of Led Zeppelin 2. One of the greatest love songs in the Led Zeppelin catalog and one of the top songs about the concept of gratitude toward another person in all of popular music. Thank You always hits a bit different in November. Fitting for a song with so many Novembers being meaningful in the lives of its lyric writer and his wife. The Plant family would experience huge loss in the not-too-far-distant future. Their second child, Karak Pendragon Plant, was born in 1972 and tragically died when he was just 5 years old of a stomach virus in 1977. This event absolutely crushed Robert Plant and his entire family, and Plant eventually wrote the song All My Love in tribute, a love letter to his son. A third child, Logan Romano, was born in 1979, the last of the union between Plant and Maureen Wilson. The couple divorced in 1983, but remain friends in a way that only formerly married people who have known each other since their teenage years and who have gone through some of life's most difficult times can. In 2018, at Wilson's birthday party, Plant got up and sang a few songs for her, including a few Elvis Presley covers, just like back in the old days. And without their union, without their meeting all those years ago at a concert that had been canceled, who knows what may have become of Robert Plant? He would probably have still become a golden god. But without the support and love between him and Wilson, we fans wouldn't know the feeling we get when we hear this unapologetic tribute of love and gratitude. Perfect for any time of year, and not just our Novembers. I'm Janda, and this has been Behind the Song. Special thanks to Christian Lane for the music you hear on this podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and watch the video episodes, and follow Behind the Song on TikTok. On the way, more episodes for the Yuletide season, all about the lyrics of classic rock and roll.